There you are. You got a message in before I got a word in. Good morning, Harvey. Just checking a few things on here, and yeah. So, recap. Last night recap. So we are 10 complete figures. Boy, they really don't look like much on the screen. It's just the lighting in here. They'll look better with photos. They look super drab, but they're not. They're going to look awesome when they're based up. So these guys are completely done. Well, they're not sealed, but yeah, these guys are complete. And then we were working on the last two, which we started on him. So that's what we got, and then we go do something more fun. Not that this isn't fun, but it's kind of repetitive. We're gonna build a unique stand next. I think we're gonna do Uncle Artie. Uncle Artie with the Eastern European gun crew. I should send these guys, when I'm done with them, a picture of them to Essex so they can post what these nice figures look like on their European gun crew, Eastern European gun crew, which there's no pictures of them online, but I don't know. Sometimes you do those things, and you know, when you do things out of the goodness of your heart, try to get other people involved, and then you get dismissed. It's like, fine, don't sell any figures. I think their figures are fine. They paint up really well, and oh well. There's no pictures of the Eastern European gun crew. That's what it was. I ordered them on a whim, and it paid off. Fleshy bits time. Let's start off with his face. Let's go ahead and give this guy a personality. Whatever that may be. Give him a face, boils and all. Alright, we're gonna throw this thing out once we're done with a Saloy. We'll start fresh again. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. I wanted this one. Alright. Make a dark color here and cover him everywhere. I was doing something different yesterday because actually when I went to bed my back was kind of hurting, my upper shoulders. So is this thing as low as it'll go? Yeah. I don't know, maybe I spent too much time getting pulled off because I'm pretty comfortable in this position. That's the whole idea. I've got a painting desk that's as high up as it could go, so I can actually if it could go up maybe another inch, it'd probably be even better. But that's just to kind of keep my back. I don't have any back issues, but you know, you need to be comfortable if you're going to do this for a certain period of time. In the past, the most uncomfortable part of me is my butt sitting on it for this long, you know, and not moving because it's not like I'm squirming around and stuff while I'm painting. You know, kind of hard to keep things steady then. But didn't have to take any drugs for it, so I guess that's a good thing. No pain medication for the back. I don't have any back issues. I have back pain only once that I can think of, and it was hard getting to sleep. And I don't remember exactly what caused it. It was a long time ago. It was probably 20 years ago. It was before I was married, so a face best suited to radio. There you go. Is radio still a thing? Do people listen to the radio? That's got to be a dying business. People that sell advertising on radio. price on the advertising's probably gone down with less and less people listening to it. I cannot stand, or couldn't stand, radio commercials. Although there's some TV commercials that are just abysmal. You wonder, it's like, some people make some really poor decisions, I think, with advertising with certain commercials. There's two products I can think of, right? Or two services I can think of right off the bat that I would never buy just based on their commercials, how annoying they are. And they're both insurance companies. I would never want to do business with those two. The commercial, first of all, has nothing to do with the product. It's not even entertaining, and they're not even funny. So it's like, where are you going with this? I mean, if your purpose is to get your word out, then maybe you should just put a blank screen there and put the logo of your company and be done with it. How much different is this particular interface to radio? You hate commercials in general. Good morning. Awesome. You're on my... Well, hopefully you didn't stay up all night, dude. We do need to get some... Yeah, I don't like commercials either. But I would hate to do business with Progressive or Geico, because they have literally the worst commercials I've ever seen. They're not funny, and they have nothing to do with their product. I don't know who, and they're not cheap. Absolutely horrible. And not memorable, other than, oh yeah, those horrible commercials. Which one? Oh, I can't remember. They were so horrible, I blanked them out. All right, let's get back up to this color here, and then we'll start adding the sunny skin tone. Man, the people are up. Welcome, the people. Kevin, wow. Up in the morning, out of the rack. I actually did stay up all night. I'm stuck on graveyard sleep pattern for the time being. Oh, good morning to you too, Mr. Patriot. Up in the land of where things are frozen. I don't know. Are they frozen? They had to be pretty cold up there. I mean, I'm telling you, all the years I've lived in Florida, which is, well, my entire life except 3. So, in the late 70s, we were in Huntsville, Alabama my dad took a job out there. But I was born in Florida, lived here 6 years, we moved out. So like by the time I was 10, I was back in Florida again and been here since. Actually, by the time I was 10, I was back in this town and been here since. So, 81 to now, 1981. And I don't remember it ever being this cold for this long. It's not that it's that cold. It's not that the temperature is that cold. It's very wet, which means it's very penetrating. And it also means I haven't been as dry and itchy as I normally am. So, I don't know. Have they given up calling it global warming and now call it climate change? It's probably more accurate, because I don't know. Sometimes it's not necessarily more warming. I'm fine if there's a cool down, to be honest with you. Global cool down, that would make me happy. But I don't remember it ever being this cold for this long. It's just penetrating. It's not a complaint because I always like to remind people I don't complain about it being cold. You can always put on more clothes, and I personally love wearing long sleeves, which I can't wear too many. But I think I've gone like 2 weeks wearing long sleeves with an undershirt at work, and that's unheard of. That's unheard of. Selected for new position, G12 Step 5 Permanent Tech Rider for Set Kits, Outfit, and Tools. Scott, U.S. Army, TACCOM transition, and UT March 12, leaving ChemBio. Whew. Okay. I've been doing the same thing for 28 years. So you are a contractor to the military or something like that, I would think. I don't think you're active service. Well, thank you for whatever it is that you do. And hopefully things don't get crazy in the next year or so. That's always my idea of news. You know how I keep up with the news is I'll go and I do a Google image search in the morning. In the morning, if I can think about it, because it's honestly not in my foresight. And I'll type in Ukraine, enter. See if anything hits. No. Okay. Biden, enter. See if anything hits. No. Okay. That's it. I'm done. You know. See if there's anything. See if there's anything worth clicking on. Not that I necessarily would. I'd take it with a grain of salt because. We ever going to be able to go back to the news how it used to be, where people just told you the news? Everything's spun now. Just tell me what the news is, man. Don't spin it for me. I'm not a child. I do my own taxes. I go to work every day. Just government, civilian, general service, not a contractor. You pay me. Well, I don't pay you that much. I don't want to work for the government. I don't want to work for the government. I don't know, maybe it's okay. You have a couple of experiences that have happened with at work. I'm not going to get too much into detail. It's not that exciting, but I work in logistics. I handle logistics for my company, among other things. That's mainly what I do. And you know, we deliver to military bases. We had an experience. It only takes me one time to get burnt, and then I come up with another plan. Because the thing is, it's things you can't control, right? So we had this delivery that we were going to do to Kings Bay Naval Base, which is a nuke sub place, right? So they've got security. As a matter of fact, this is a while ago, so who knows what the requirements are now. But they not only did they search your vehicles and everything, which is no problem. I mean, we don't have a problem with that. We don't have a history of having issues, that sort of thing. But they have a Marine that climbs into the cab with the driver the whole time, a fully armed Marine, you know. But anyway, so that was like my first experience with doing that many years ago. So, you know, the security is really tight there. And the last time we went was probably like 10 years ago, and I vowed we're not going there again, ever. And the situation was we were delivering for a contractor. We weren't doing any work there. We're just delivering loads to, you know, of concrete products to this particular place. And this guy made such a stink about, make sure you get your information for your drivers in, and they need to fill this form, and they need to fill this other form, and they need to fill the other form, and they need to do all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, I got it. And you don't want to do too far in advance, because if you do that and you change the drivers, it's a mess, right? So I give it to him about a week in advance, and then they had a fit because somehow he didn't get it. So then I resent it to him. I said, "Are we good?" "Yeah, we're good." "All right." So he made such a stink about having all our requirements in. So the day of delivery, we go to the entrance to the naval base, and we get there first thing in the morning, because if you get there too late, then the line backs up for inspections and stuff like that. So we get there, we're there plus the contractor with his equipment that was going to offload in there. They get to the gate, and the guy who's the contractor, not us, because we had only 2 vehicles there. The guy who was the contractor with his equipment, he's a felon and has a warrant out for his arrest. So they take the guy out in chains. So we're sitting at this base, can't do anything with this other piece of equipment just sitting outside the gate. So they had to find somebody else that wasn't on their way to jail to take this equipment inside and offload our trucks. So it took like 4 hours, right? The guy finally gets there. It was about noon or something like that. We've been waiting in line the whole time since 8 o'clock in the morning. So the guy's back. "Hey, let us in the gate." "Oh, you guys have to go get back in line." It wasn't until 3 o'clock in the afternoon that we're able to get on the base. And then we get on the base, and they go to offload it, and the equipment they have can't pick up what we had. So we had to bring the guys all the way back. So in other words, we did everything. We didn't do anything wrong. And we couldn't leave, and they couldn't offload us, and we almost ran illegal because of hours. There's only, the trucks are only allowed to be on the road a certain amount of hours, even though that place is not particularly far, but you sat around waiting like freaking 12 hours. So, yeah, I don't go to military bases anymore because there's too many uncontrollables. It's one thing to, I can only control what's on our end, but that was a mess. It only takes me one time to get burnt, and it doesn't matter that you could back charge somebody for the waiting time. Well, you can't back charge a base, So I try to avoid those things like the plague. So, working logistics 2, Department of Defense Acquisition Level 3 certified. Good evening, Mr. Dirk. You ran a terminal for Walmart. I had 195 owner-operators pulling 400 dry and reefer boxes in Texas out of Temple, Texas. I could never do that. It's too many truck drivers. Way too many truck drivers. Way too many. I'm actually a building construction major. I don't do anything building construction related. I say my next job, I always say that with a grain of salt because I don't plan on going anywhere else, but my next job will have lots of things, the things that throughout the years I've had to put up with that I don't want to put up with anymore. Like, I don't want to deal with truck drivers. I don't want to wear any PPE. I got to wear PPE because it's a construction, not a whole lot of it, but it's a construction site, even though I don't really do anything of it. And I'm not really in a place where you could get hurt or anything, but it's just because. So I'm like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that, Oh well. You can always find things you don't like about a job, so. Need to do something about this price of diesel though, man. It's gonna squeeze everybody. Everybody's like, "Oh, the price of gas." It doesn't matter what the price of unleaded is, okay? You can control that to a degree. You cannot control what the price of diesel does to everything else. That's where it's at, folks. Fuel is what, almost 4. I got gas the other day, and it was 4.25 or something like that. But I don't drive that much each day, and it's not that it's not that big of a deal. But all the other increases that you're paying with the diesels, what's driving everything else. Hard hat city, yeah. Well, the only reason I'm wearing a hat right now is because I don't want to put gel and shit in my hair. Not that I put that much, but that's it. I go to bed. I always shower before I go to bed, so I'm clean. So I'll be like Krusty the Clown. A bit of an exaggeration, but Yeah, I don't wear a hat. It makes me hot. Yeah, I gotta wear a hard hat just because. I mean, I'm not even anywhere near anything. So, yeah, next job won't have that. Next job, I won't have a radio that I have to listen to all these other conversations that don't even pertain to me and distract the living shit out of me. You know, you learn. That's why I have zero sympathy for people that I don't want to work from home. Shut the hell up and enjoy the liberty, idiot. Been meaning to ask, what is that in that small container you dip your brush in? I'm glad you asked. Oh, here we go. It's Vallejo Airbrush Thinner. So this was a miracle. Well, a miracle? This was a mistake, that reason I got this. I had gotten an airbrush a while ago just to do some mats and ended up not working out. But in the process of doing that, I went on and there was a thing how to make your own thinner. And this was one of the ingredients in it. It was like Windex and some distilled water, some of this and something else. And I had bought this and the airbrush thing really didn't work out. But this stuff is, I call this re-wetting drops. So I used to thin with water and now I just thin. It doesn't take very much. And this is, it keeps the brushes, the flow on the brush is a heck of a lot better. Actually, what happened is the airbrush thing didn't work out. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this product? Because this stuff's expensive. It's like $20 a bottle, you know? And I'm like, what am I going to do with this stuff? And oh, it's made in Spain. Cool. I should get a discount. I was like, what am I going to do with this? And I just decided on a whim to see what this would do. I don't actively thin it, but it's almost like it's re-wetting drops for my brush is the way I like to think of it. And I've been very happy with it. It keeps the paint from sticking to your brush as much. And it's really interesting stuff. If you were to touch it, it's really similar to saline solution for eyes in that it's a little slippery. And if you go and like rinse a brush in here, unlike water, like this is actually pretty old. It doesn't tint the whole water a color. So it's a little bit of oil and water kind of thing in that the paint kind of stays to itself and doesn't contaminate the whole thing. It's really interesting stuff. And maybe other brands will work so well, but this is why I got this. That's why I have this. Now, you can see I haven't really even used that much, and I've been using this for several years now. And I would buy this again. When I run out of it, I will buy it again because it works for me. And I've covered that a few times, but I don't know if you saw it when I was on there, but I use it often with an airbrush and it works nice. Yeah, I got this idea from somebody else that had bought an airbrush at, what's that cheapo place? Harbor Freight. This is many years ago. This was, I want to say 8 years ago. And I'm like, oh, I'll try one out. I used to use an airbrush when I worked at the hobby store in the early 90s, so I'm familiar with it. This one came with a compressor and everything for like $80. It was like $88 or something with tax. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a risk. I don't want to buy something and then not use it. Or it be a piece of shit. I don't want either one of those two things. So I got it, and it's not a very good quality. It doesn't have this and it doesn't have the other thing, but I did manage to spray the mats. They're the back of the mats that we were using to play on. So our play mats, those were sprayed by me, but you just couldn't get the nozzle small enough to do what you needed to do, and it would clog up even though I used this mix. They called this mix Jesus juice. I watched a video on how to make your own, and it was pretty elaborate, and it worked for a while, and then you stop to do something and then it would sputter, and it's not worth my time. This hobby that I do is about 0% frustrating for me, and that's how I want to keep it. And adding airbrushing to it, the frustration gets added to the equation. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to get, frustrated about something. For that, I could just stay and, go to work. So it's not for me. And I wanted to make that determination before I went and spent $500, $600, $700 on the correct airbrush with the moisture trap and all this kind of stuff. I don't mind spending the money if it's something I'm going to use, and if it's something that's going to make the conditions better. But if it's going to add stress, like, why did I even bother doing that? So, so at least I got some use out of it. So it's just rotting away. I'm probably just going to donate it or something. I'm never going to use it again. The other thing is, here, I'm in a comfortable temperature. I'm relaxed. Airbrush, I got to go to the garage where, well, right now it's nice, but 90% of the year it's an oven out there. So I don't want to do that. Maybe after work when I'm already, need a shower, but not a big fan of working in the garage when you live in Florida, Florida, the swamp ass state. I don't know. Is this stuff still alive? Let's see. Let's do a live check on this. Nope. All right. I'm getting pushed into a corner by all these paints that are over here. My typical problem. See if I can show you guys what I'm talking about. You guys, oh, I'm glad I looked up because my phone wasn't connected to a power source. Yeah, I'm like encroached by, all this stuff here. So, let's go ahead and plug this into I was like at 97% because I was charging all yesterday. I really need a producer or a checklist. Make sure this is on. Make sure this is in. This is, now we're back to not having to reverse the video like before. So, when I film my normal videos, I don't have to flip the image. And I didn't have to flip the image before, but when I used the last program to transfer it to the computer, I did have to flip it. So, everything's different. And not a fan of working outside in summer here. The humidity is so horrendous. You have no idea. But yeah, it's hot in Pennsylvania. I know, because we used to go to Historicon in July. It's hot. Very hot. And it gets cold too, so I guess it's even more extremist than here. We just have the heat for a lot longer than you guys do. And the worst thing about the heat is the bugs. Man, they just won't freaking leave you alone. Like, how cold of a winter do you have to kill them all off? I mean, the birds can go find something else to eat. Screw the birds. They'll find something else to eat. Adapt. What do you have to have? Like a winter for... Well, we had an ice age and they came back, so I guess that doesn't really work. Forget that. The bugs, man, the bugs. I live near where Historicon used to be. It's technically a subtropical climate, but we get extreme cold as well. Once the weather starts hitting autumn, the bugs start going away, as do the birds. Ha! Yeah, they come down here. You live near where Historicon used to be. Well, it used to be in... You live near Lancaster? Or was it before that? I liked it in Virginia. And then people complain, I gotta drive 3 hours. Dude, we drive like freaking 14 hours. And don't bitch about it. Really, they can hold it anywhere except at the host. Please don't have it at the host again. That place needs to be condemned. We need to send the coordinates to ISIS. Is ISIS even a thing anymore? I don't know. That place shouldn't exist. The last time I was there, it's embarrassing that you work so hard to go to a place like that. That's embarrassing. States of disrepair. I don't know what was the last year we went? 2018? I think 2017 it was still in Fredericksburg. 2018 was they didn't have the other site nailed down yet, so that was absurd. And then the walk from hell. I don't mind that it's a long walk, but you have limited time to go to the vendor hall, and the insult upon injury, adding insult to injury of the walk down to the vendor hall is the door is on the far side of the hall. So you got to go walk all the way around the freaking building to the front just to get to what you want to in the back. To, rush back and hopefully make it back before your next game. Lancaster's about 65 miles west of you. Okay. Okay, so you're near King of Prussia, where it was at King of Prussia for 2 years. Cool. Yeah, that place was okay too. Regiment Dragoons à Cheval, Imperial Guard French 18mm AB on my table. I wonder, AB makes such a big deal out of making the Napoleonics are 18mm, but I bet most modern 15mm are 18mm anyways. Yeah. I've never painted any AB figures. I've got some. I've got some 20mm tank crews. I've got some Brit tank riders Brit. I got British troops that you can throw in Bren carriers. I got probably enough for like a couple of Bren carriers. I just didn't get. I bought them before and then got out of the habit of painting. I should say that's how I should say it. I didn't get out of 20mm World War II. I got out of the habit of painting them. I still have them. I've got no plans to ever get rid of them. Will I get around to painting them? I don't know. Maybe sometime, but I don't see that being anytime soon. This is a lot more useful doing this stuff than it is doing the other stuff. Although it would be fun to shoot some World War II videos, but man, they'd be long. They'd be long, and they would be multiple episodes. Be like people go check on a couple episodes. Man, those guys are still trying to get that squad out of that house. That's the kind of stuff I do. I do really anal retentive small things. A slow motion type game. That's what I like. You have some 15mm Blue Moon AWI Militia, the last bit of 28mm in my collection. And if I never paint a 20mm miniature again, it will be too soon. I wonder why you don't like them. I told you why I don't. They just take too long. Well, it used to be that they didn't make any figures that I liked, but this is 20 years ago. Now they make all kinds of cool 28s. I just don't. I'm not going to spend 12 hours on a figure, and that's what it'd turn into. I know me. And let's add a little bit more white. Is 28mm a popular scale because of people that come over from Warhammer type things? Or is it because older wargamers can't see so well? I can tell you, as someone who can't see so well, and I use that sparingly, saying it that way, because I've always been nearsighted. Not always, but since about 7. But I've always painted with 20/20 vision until like 5 years ago, and now I just take my contacts out and I have built-in magnification. I never used that before. I almost didn't even realize that that's what I had. I just thought I had bad vision. No, I have improper focus. So I never was able to use that to my advantage. This guy's gonna be blonde. That's what we're gonna do with this guy, or blondish, as I like to say. And look, we already have a brownish color there. That's what it'll be. But I would think that I think that the main thing is to attract the Warhammer people. But what I'm saying is as someone whose vision I've had to alter my painting methods because of my vision changing. I can tell you, if I was painting bigger figures, I still wouldn't see them. So the bigger figures maybe help, if you've got the shakes or something like that. But from a vision standpoint, I don't see it making much of a difference. I wouldn't see it very helpful. It's not like, I take my contacts out to see them. If I painted bigger figures, I'd be able to paint without contacts. I would just do the same thing. AB is like 70 seconds, cylinder style 2. Yeah. Greetings from the Ukraine. Uh-oh, you got front row tickets, man. Best wishes to you. We're not going to talk about that current events crap, though, but welcome. The Kaiser of Ukraine. Like 20 millimeters, like Oath Sworn for Burrows and Badgers. Burrows and Badgers sounds like a fantasy game that would be based on Watership Down or something like that. But I'm quitting Games Workshop miniatures because they're just too pricey and their game systems don't work for me. For me, it's the price, time takes to build painted miniatures, cost terrain, storing the terrain in miniatures 20 millimeters is really hard. Yeah, I could see that. You got to store it somewhere it doesn't get all dusty, 3D Prince Caballero miniatures. Feudal Spanish this year's project. I've seen some of those, and I'd say they're museum quality, but they're better than museum quality. Those are very, very captivating looking. Let me take a small break because I hear someone awake and I need to have an interaction with them. So we will put the be right back, and we will be right back. Okay, and we're back. Oh man, we got some big words here. Old Glory are not the same scale as AB. Tony Barton doesn't promote 18 millimeter as some better scale. Tony Barton is the Kuisach Hadarak. I don't know what the hell that means. I'm sorry. It's an anthropomorphic fantasy game, a story-driven episode fun. If you've ever heard of Wind in the Willows, I have. That's what I get mixed up with Watership Down, the same type of thing. Wind in the Willows. That's one of those like claymation type kids shows. That was around back when I was a kid, I think. And Redwall. Never heard of Redwall. You have an understanding of burrows and badgers. Okay, cool. What do you use burrows and badgers for? Let's see. You like 28 millimeters O swarm for burrows and badgers. Okay, cool. All right. That's one of those themes that that Scott says he hates. Anthropomorphic. I don't have a problem with it. I've never played it. To be honest with you, I would probably enjoy the living shit out of it because it's an opportunity to do insane voices. You know, not the entire time, but when the right thing happens. Like who is it? Eureka makes like frogs and turtles and stuff like that. Yeah, I could get into that. I just don't do fantasy stuff, you know. But I could see that being cool. You're old enough to remember when 15mm were introduced. The main scale was 25 for most periods. Games Workshop with the Perry chaps wanted more detail in the figures, and these grew to 28mm. QED. I don't believe I know what that means. That's an acronym that I don't use or haven't seen much. Yeah. No, I anthropomorphic, yeah. That's one of the things. I've had conversations with Scott. Scott that games with us. And he's like, he doesn't like games like that. And I'm like, how many have you played? Are there that many? Miniatures are so lovely and charming. Just drawing. Yeah, I'd have a blast. I know me. I'm here to have fun. I think that would be fun. You know? A game where you paint a bunch of frogs and they speak in a French accent. Wouldn't that be funny? I'd have to think about how I would do that. They make all kinds of interesting stuff. Teddy bears and, you know, I guess technically those aren't animals, but maybe bears that are shaped like teddy bears. I'm just not looking for more things to get involved in. I mean, if I could snap my fingers and they'd be painted, maybe. But this just takes time, so you got to decide, what am I going to spend my time on? Like Warhammer. I've never played Warhammer. I've seen other people play Warhammer, and I just don't think people are having a good time playing it. It just doesn't appeal to me, regardless of the cost. Most people I've seen have a lot of unpainted miniatures. I'm like, what's in it for me? You know, what's the appeal? Not what's in it for me. That's not accurate. You know, why should I get into that? You know? And I am really, really against, as a slow painter, one of the worst things you could do is discontinue shit. Because by the time I get around to finally playing the game's discontinued. It's like, and nobody wants to play the game. It's like, why did I kill myself to get all this stuff done for nothing? This is what the base of his beard is going to be. And I still find it strange that people make rules, that a company makes rules and miniatures. Because I'm still used to how it used to be. You either made one or the other. I mean, I understand why they do it. It's just a little odd, you know. It gives them a little too much. I think it gives them too much power. I need more checks and balances than that. That'd be funny. Hell, I have a Mouseketeer named Sir Porthos the Bold. I gave him most of the characters I've painted so far interesting names. Yeah, that'd be an appeal to me to come up with those names. Warhammer is great lore, but the rules are horrible and the players are mostly in to win and not to have fun or partake in the hobby aspect of it. Yep, I'm out. I mean, I'm in to win, but that's not the prime motivator. I could win at other stuff. Go play a first-person shooter or something. You said Sir Porthos, and it made me remind me of one of the first games that I played. Was this guy who ran? There's this old game. Even back then, it was old because I think it's from like 1975, and I think it's actually made by Frank Chadwick. Called On Guard, and it's basically like a character creation. It's like a role-playing game where you try to improve the stats of your characters. And I know it sounds really boring, but I don't know, and maybe it is by today's standards, but I have really fond memories of it. It's a Three Musketeers time period inspired game, and this guy who ran it, he had miniatures for duels, and he had all the Three Musketeers and the Cardinals Guards, and they were in 25 millimeter, in true 25 millimeter. Because this was probably around 1989, 88, 89, something like that. And that's one of those guys that just disappeared off the face of the earth. You know, you've had people that, you know, you were gamers that you grew up with, and all of a sudden one day it's like they shut everything down and they don't do any more gaming. And I wonder what goes on in their head. I don't think that's going to be me. I don't think one day I'm just going to pack them and say, I don't play games anymore. Until, you know, I'm not breathing anymore. I mean, this is a big part of who I am. Man, I wish you guys could see this. I'm going to show you, but it isn't going to come up with a crap. But the coloring of it, you know, sometimes I'm impressed by how things turn out. Let's see. Let me put on my glasses so I can make sure he's centered. It's not going to come out worth a damn because of the focus and the coloring on the blonde. I'm really happy with. Let's see if I can hold this steady. Find out where the focus point is on this. If I get closer, it doesn't get any better. If I was just using the foam by itself, I can do it. Let me see if I click this. No. Oh, well, you just have to wait until the pictures. I have this blonde figure. Not that I have a thing for blondes. It just turned out nicely. I had this blonde figure in my Norwegian army that it was a museum figure, and he's got this. He's got a mustache with no beard, and he reminds me of Hulk Hogan. So I always call him Hulk Hogan. It was pretty funny. Pretty funny looking casting. Sometimes it's cool when you can make the castings come to life, or they look interesting. We occasionally invite a group of Warhammer gamers to share our hire of a village hall. These guys always seem to be having fun. Not that I understand what the bejesus is going on. I used to game with Frank Chadwick. Great guy. I used to play games with. Funny fact, Frank Chadwick taught me how to play DBA, actually. The first war games that I played was Command Decision by Frank Chadwick. And although I really didn't care for... Looking back on it, I could never play it now because it wasn't... One of the things that makes this game really strong, DBA, is that there's almost every turn you have meaningful decisions to make. And in Command Decision, you didn't have meaningful decisions to make. There was almost one thing that was obvious, and that's what you needed to do. So if you ever played Command Decision, one of those things you can do. Edition 1, and I played the second one a little bit, and I don't know what they're on now. Test of Battle or 5 or 6 or who knows what. But one thing I always liked is I always liked his penetration values for his tank fire, because it was really close to using real stats. I mean, whatever numbers he used, like of his like armor values and stuff, was really close to centimeters of armor the actual vehicle hit, that the vehicle had. So it was almost like you were learning real terminology and that kind of stuff. And all of his weapons are, you know, they're all use the nomenclature of what the actual gun is. It's not like, well, this vehicle has an A class weapon or a B class weapon. It's no, you've got a pack. You've got a Pack 40 anti-tank gun. It is a 75 L46 gun. You know, I like the way he did that. I don't like the infantry's a little too like, nah, it's infantry. Don't worry about the details or whatever. But that's what we grew up playing with micro armor. But you know, I know the moves. You can either not move, you can move half speed, or you can move full move. And if you move full move, you can only fire in the last phase, and you never do that. You never do that, because otherwise you're going to get blown away, you know. So it's almost like that's almost a thing you never used. So then it's, do you want to move or you want to move at half speed? So it's like you didn't have that many meaningful decisions to do in that game. But that was the first war game I started playing, and still got the rules here somewhere. I still got that Barbarossa 25 bathtub campaign game that he did. And yeah, it kind of sucked in the infantry department. And I always wanted to play. I remember he had those HO scale tanks all illustrated in there in his figures, and I always wanted to play in that scale. But you know, back then it was kind of hard to get a hold of things. I was still a kid, and you know. But yeah, that's what we grew up playing at. And Combined Arms, I was actually looking for my copy of Combined Arms, and I don't know what happened to it. I don't think I sold it, because I don't think anybody would have wanted to buy it, because I don't know that it was that popular. We played a little bit. A couple of people in our game group really wanted to play modern stuff, fold-a-gap type things. Played Command Decision with him many times. We used his games, Volume Bayonet, Command Decision, and DBA. I always enjoyed playing Command Decision. I also have one of his board games. He impresses me with his depth of research. I had, what was that one game that I have that eventually got rid of it because it was just so ugly looking? Destruction of Army Group Center. It was just absolutely uninspiring looking, but he's been around forever. A lot of those type games when you're moving around, you know, battalions and divisions and stuff like that were, you know, popular. The best way if you want to play one of those type games for me is just get them in computer form. And then they set up immediately. You can save and everything's exactly where it was. I don't dislike those kind of games. I've played them a lot. And, you know, I don't mind them. As a matter of fact, my first computer game I had was one of those. It was called Second Front by, I can never remember who it is. Is it SSI? Somebody. I don't know. It was the whole Eastern Front or whatever. And it was, you know, VGA graphics. And it was fine for what it was, but you could change what tanks were in different divisions, and, you know, you could tinker with them some. Everything was named, and I played that a lot back in the early 90s. Well, that's it. I never got a Commodore. I always wanted a Commodore, and I never got one. Oh well, now I don't want one. But computer games don't take the place of this, because there's no creativeness to it. You know, everything's done for you. Which is okay for some people, but, you know, some of us have some creative juices that need to be, you know, done something with. Well, I didn't mean to put that down, but I kind of like how it turned out. It was almost like a little line on there. You probably can't see it there, but I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave that there. Okay. Pants colors. What did we do on the last one? Did we end up doing a light blue, or did I think about that? There is a guy floating around here with light blue pants. There he is. And he has the same type of jacket, so we're not going to do that. Let's do we have a little bit of red? No. Let's give somebody with a little bit of red pants, and let's see what. And you know what I mean red is, I use that sparingly because we're not going to be this bright. It's just going to have a hint of red. Let's go somewhere where we're unobstructed. Yeah, we'll start off with that. All right, let's see. Man. 10 viewers, welcome. Frank is one of those guys you dream of having as a gaming partner. He has no ego and is always willing to teach people how to play the games. Are there that many people with egos? I mean, just in gaming. I mean, I know in real life, you know. I don't know. I got an ego, I guess. I don't want to keep things from people in the game. I want a good fight. So, why wouldn't you teach somebody how to play the game as best as you can? Okay. All right, now we're going to do these. We can do a little bit more highlighting than that. Oh, and I did have another Chadwick game. That Chinese farm, that Suez 73. Had one of my favorite covers by Roger McGowan on it. I love that color. It's very colorful. I actually used that cover. We had, when I was in college, I took some graphic design classes a long time ago. And when I thought I was going to go into that, and one of the projects is you had to find an illustrator and do like a montage or something. I had picked Roger McGowan for that. And of course, nobody knew who the hell he was because, you know, not war gamers. But yeah, I used the cover of Suez 73, and I had that somewhere. I don't know what happened to it. I guess I didn't keep it. I remember that game being really complicated at the time. Those games are just better to like just make them in counter form, not in counter form, in computer form. There's stuff like on the back of the counters and stuff that armor anti-tank penetration values and stuff like that. You've encountered a lot of gamers who'd rather bash someone's brains out in a game rather than teaching them to be competent. I try to avoid those gamers. Yeah. I don't see what the point is. Yeah, I'm not one of those people. But then there's some people, I'll give you this, there's some people that you want to teach them how to play correctly and they don't care. You know, they don't want to listen to you. And then they get beat and then they whine about being beat. but then they did things that, you know, they shouldn't have done to begin with. So, you know, there's a flip side to that coin. But most people aren't that, but there are some. I've encountered them. Or my favorite thing, right? One of my pet peeves is if you ask me a question and then while I'm in the process of answering your question, you're asking me another question. Okay, so you have a fetish for asking questions. You don't really want the answer. I love those people that do that. So you're wasting my time. I got it. Okay. Question asking fetish. All right. So now we go to his shoes, and I think we're gonna make this guy have black shoes or blackish shoes, just for contrast purposes. And does that finish this guy off? It does. And then we're on the last dude. And he doesn't have a fur coating. A fur coating. Like a hard candy shell. Okay? I don't think we highlighted the crossbars on his helmet. Let's do that. Okay. He's complete. That's number 11. 12th guy right here. But look, I already have this metal on me. So let's just go do his helmet. All right. Let's see what we got new. You have to head out. Have a good day. Okay. Enjoy your weekend. Assuming you don't have to work today. The last Soloy figure. Yeah, see, this guy's more complicated. Even though he doesn't have fur and stuff on him, he has a sword, but the other guys don't. And he also has some black areas that popped out. So let's take care of that before we go any further. We don't want those things looming at us later. Okay. All right, so we're going to give him a white undershirt, but he has an overshirt. I want a pretty light color for that too. Pale sand. This is one of these that I think was sitting on the shelf way too long before I ever bought it. And it's always been like this, like half-ass falling apart. I need to get some tape and put this on here before I don't know what. Well, it's only important what color it is if I have to reorder it, but I don't think I'll ever be reordering this color. It's not that great to begin with. And I don't use it that often. Let's mix it with brown. All right, let's add more of this core color on here. And then we'll have to work on something while these guys dry up a little bit and get sealed, so. This is so mindless. I don't mind doing this one figure at a time. If I was like mass doing this, I'd just be bored to death. I would just be bored to death. May add a little bit of white to this to brighten it up into the super highlighted parts. We'll see. It's probably better just to be flexible, because you don't know how you're going to have to adjust things from time to time. Let's go ahead and do that little bit of white we were talking about. Okay. Well, we're not going to give him a white undershirt if his top jacket's white. Let's go ahead and do his pants in brown. He remembered to bring his brown pants. Sometimes it's a wise choice. Ted viewers, welcome. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Thanks for coming by. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's very helpful. It helps the algorithm or whatever, have other people see. All right, let's go add. Okay, and heck, it's right here. Instead of white, let's use this. Let's see what the hell happens. Let's see what the hell happens. All right. No, you know what? I think it's actually his pants do go all the way to the bottom. See, sometimes these figures you got to make out exactly. It looked like he almost had little wraps, but I don't think that's the case. Okay, no big deal. So when you make a mistake like that, you just paint the lower half now. Sometimes you just kind of have to figure out what exactly you're doing. So, good morning, Mike B. You have to go to look forward to next DBA video. Happy Saturday, everyone. Okay, Harvey, you were the first one in. You get the extra credit. There we go. Let's add the lower portion here. And let's go back to doing that highlighting phase. Actually, these guys painted up pretty quick. But I also needed to stay on these jokers too, because I don't want to ruin all my momentum painting these guys. Generally, the more interesting figures I leave for the end of the project. It's just kind of I have to earn them. The only project that I can remember that I did differently than that was my Armenians, because I was just going round and round in circles about how to paint them and make them look interesting. That, you know what, I am going to give them a white undershirt, but it's going to be with black as the darkener, not brown. So it should look different enough to be able to be next to it. But generally, I leave the more interesting figures towards the end, kind of a reward for suffering and painting the guys that are less interesting at the beginning. But I just couldn't get those Armenians off the ground. That was the first army that I painted that wasn't very uniform and really needed to invent things, so to speak. All right, let's flesh this guy out. And we're going to need more of this red leather. Smaller brush now. Geez, around when I went to bed, when I get up, you never actually stop, do you? I'm trying to push these guys through. I guess I probably could have gamed last night if I wanted to, but I didn't feel like it. I decided to go wash the car instead and wash the car. Not have it washed for me. Wash the car. And then I rolled into this. So when I get this guy done, I'm tired of looking at these folks. I want to start daydreaming about the next army I'm going to do. And the only way I'm going to let myself do that is to finish these jokers out. Where's my... See, that's the problem with this stuff. I don't remember where the hell I was. Let's just mix up a new batch. Let's put it here, not near any of this stuff. Okay, that's about where we were. So let's add a little bit more of this. A little bit more. Just talking about the Byzantines the other day, I'm like dying to go through my lead pile and put them together. One of my favorite things to do is go through piles of lead and try to figure out what I use for anything else. I don't think I have to buy anything, which is good. I hate throwing money at a problem when it's not needed to. Okay. And then we can start with the beginnings of the mix that has the sunny skin tone. So the game night this week will not be on Monday. Monday would be a bad day to go do game night, you know, if you think about it, what day that would be. So we're going to move it to Tuesday. So, Cat Roger, afternoon, enjoying the painting session. Excellent. Excellent. I wonder what makes the little icons. I don't know if you guys can see it, but Cat Roger, you've got a portrait. Some other folks don't have a portrait. They just have an icon for the first letter of their handle that they're using. And I wonder what determines the color that handle is. I'm not sure what causes that. Why is the M and the R the same color? Mysteries of the internet. I guess that means, Cat Roger, I guess that means you like cats. Roger that. I live in a pet-free home. One of the few people that I know. Actually, Mitch, well, no, he's got damn chickens outside. But not in, you know. Yeah, I guess they're not really pets, but. Even when I lived alone, for many years, never had a pet. Never occurred to me to have a pet. I don't need that distraction. I don't need that distraction. Let's add more of this. And this. I have cats. It's an old online gaming handle from years ago. I use it on Instagram as well. Okay. I'm guessing your name is Roger. I don't know. I don't think that I've ever used a handle online. I mean, if I was forced to, but I'd rather just use my real name. Somebody wants to steal my identity, you know what? They can go to work on Monday too. Joke's on them. Why do you always forget to paint the horse's hooves until it's time for basing? Good evening, studio. 8 p.m. 8 p.m. I was watching a video and I accidentally came across it in Malaysia. Maybe a month ago or whatever. Well, they said it was in Malaysia. It was a car video. There's some part of the highway or whatever up there near a resort. I don't remember where it is right now, but they had some cars racing on it. I'm like, that seems a little over the top. Oh, I need to go over to this corner to find the same color. Looks like I missed something. So I will continue to make mistakes, unfortunately. Damn it, man. Yeah, it was in Malaysia, whatever. Some windy road, or I could tell you where it was. And then and it said where this was happening, so I go on Google Maps, just to make sure. And I'm like, yep, that's a windy ass road that's in really good shape. There's a place up here in North Georgia, Tennessee, that's supposedly called it's called the Tail of the Dragon. It's some kind of a track. I don't know exactly how it works, whether they close it and they only run it one direction or the other, but you can go there and take your car on it, It's got lots of curves and stuff. That might be fun to do. As long as I'm the driver. I have control issues, so I don't make a good passenger, but nothing crazy, just, give it some juice and go around some of those corners, assuming it's all one way, That might be fun to do. But it is about 7 hours away from here, so it's not something you can just do. Lots of racing. Is there lots of racing there? Oh, I think this is alive, but the last bow of these guys. Malaysia. You guys drive on the correct side of the road, or you do it the British way? I don't remember. I think you guys do it the British way. Only because that area was there was some colonial influence there, I'm guessing. I think Singapore's that way. I think it's the uphill track. We do it the British way. Okay. When I was in Vietnam, when I was in Vietnam, it did my head in. Wrong side. The British way is the correct way. Oh, no way. I am the most adamant again about that. I'll do the metric system anywhere. We're not driving on it. Look, even the French get it, okay? Even the French figured out to drive on the correct side of the road. So, there's got to have been some major accidents where the channel changes from one way to the other. No way. No way I'm driving on the wrong side of the road. No way. Oh man. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll come up with a compromise, right? I'm reasonable. We'll come up with a compromise. If you want to have your own vehicle and drive it, you drive it the way most of the world does. If you want to drive on the wrong side of the road, just take public transportation. Then you don't have to worry about it. Shifting with your right hand, I mean, you shift with your left hand? That's crazy. That's no, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Wow. That's not going to catch on here. That's not going to catch on here. We got to redo all our roads. No. No, it's a bit late for that. Oh, man. But it is pretty stupid that it started one way and it changed it. I mean, like, why? What's the point in that? You know, make cars wider and you have to drive in the center, right? Problem solved. There's um, there's a couple folks that I've seen that have Japanese vehicles that are been imported from Japan, and they're on the steering wheels on the right hand side, but they drive on this side road. I wonder how weird that is. I wonder if that's not even worse. I wonder if that's not worse. Just to have a vehicle that's set up to drive one way and you're driving it the other way. I don't know. Problems I'm never going to have. Hopefully. A nation of ambidextrous people. Yeah. Yeah, when I drive one-handed, it's usually just the left hand. Which is funny because when I ride a bike and I hold it with one hand, it's just the left hand. I don't know. Vietnam uses the American method, so when I was driving there, it was strange. To each their own. We even drive in the right lane on the moon. I don't know. I could come up with another reasonable. I could come up with another reasonable compromise. Um, I don't know. Does this make any sense? Why that is? and and they go and make, I'm a big Japanese vehicle fan. And all their stuff's originally on the wrong side, so we talked them into freaking changing it over for us. Let's see. I couldn't believe Ireland drives on that side. I thought they would do it. I thought they would do it the normal way. If I ever go to Ireland, I won't be driving out there. Wrong side of the street, and steering columns on the wrong side, drive on the wrong side, and then inebriated. Because it's Ireland. That's a bad combination. I'll just take the bus. I'll just take the bus. First time I drove in the US, my cousin took me out, got bladdered, and I had to drive home after the bar closed. That's probably the wrong time to learn how to do it. Also told me halfway home that the car had no insurance. It was hell. Yeah, I think people that have no insurance should be executed. I'm going through that right now. I got in a little fender bender. Very minor, extremely minor. I didn't get involved. No, the person involved me in a, I got rear-ended, and it is extremely cosmetic, but it is a massive pain in the ass because the guy doesn't have any insurance. So anyway, no matter what I do, I'm going to be out at least $500, and I didn't do anything wrong, and there's no repercussions for the guy. I could go after him in small claims court and, be out a lot more of my time than the $500. So what? Anyhow, it's just kind of unusual being 50 and never having to do this kind of a situation before. So I don't, it's a massive pain in the ass that guy's caused. Just because he was fooling around on his damn phone. And he only hit me going, 5 miles an hour or something like that. But it's extremely cosmetic. But I don't know. It's difficult when you have to make a decision and you consider like all of the options of what you could do, and none of them are good. When you think about a decision and all of them have drawbacks, it's really, that doesn't happen very often. I don't usually have that problem. So, and insurance, they're in the business to not pay, so they're right there on my list of people that I don't care for. Their job is to not pay. So, and I guess you could get away with not having one. I thought that if you didn't have insurance, you get arrested and taken away in chains, but I guess that's not the case. All right, I am out of liquids, so I'm going to be right back. Don't have a driving license. Didn't need it when I can walk across a county in 2 hours. U.S. and France Teamsters rode behind left most horse so they could use the whip easier. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. You're whipping with your right hand. Okay. Accidents when not serious are just such a hassle. Yeah, when they're serious, you either die, no hassle, right? Or there's no car left, it's totaled. End of story, right? No, I'm not going to complain. It's just annoying when you do everything right and you still get screwed. So, hold on 1 second. We will be right back. Okay, here we are. Newcastle. Which Newcastle? Because Australia has a pretty big Newcastle too, if I remember correctly. No, I think you're up in the original one. Version 1 of Newcastle. I think Australia has one. Up there in the top right. Okay. I don't think we were done with it. His face can use a little bit more face to it. Getting down to the nitty gritty. We've got the sword to do, and the quiver, shoes, hair, and this guy's pretty much done. Let's go ahead and drop the Nuln Oil on him so that it can dry a little bit before we go and highlight some stuff. Drop some Nuln Oil on him. And be careful not to spill this thing, because I've seen horror stories. I've heard horror stories. I haven't seen them. And it makes a mess, and it's wasteful. Double whammy. Da, da, da. Okay. I think we were done with that. Let's grab some. Let's grab, I believe this is Saddle Brown. And let's put, I guess we're not disconnecting with this new interface, so that's good. If we have issues with this, then we'll have to go to something else, you know. I'm not smart enough or interested enough to get knowledgeable enough to find out why these things work. Just, if it starts misbehaving, we'll go to a different platform. That's not what I do for a living. And you always seem to move the football on you. Look up an answer for some of this technology stuff on the internet, and you get all kinds of wrong information. Boy, this is just like water. What the hell happened here? This is one of these colors that's incorrigible. Incorrigible colors. Yeah, we don't need a whole lot of it. We just need something that has some pigment. And let's add some of this to it. this bronze still alive? Where's the metallic corner? Over here. In the top there. Now we'll do the handle. Cavalry brown Vallejo separates a lot. Really? I think that there's just different ones. I don't have a problem with cavalry brown. Yeah, cavalry brown doesn't separate a lot for me. Barring oranges and yellows. So let's just throw oranges and yellows out of the equation because of course they separate. Or, yellowish colors like this color here, this lime, should call this lime abortion is what they should call this. Yellow-green. Yeah, this is, and the color is accurate. It looks to me just as like it does on the screen. It's, crazy. So, stuff, other than stuff like this, I have some issues with some greens. The blues are all solid. The grays are all solid. I don't think I have a problem with any of those kind of colors. It just depends. I mean, yeah, the most useless color I have is this natural wood because it's actually some kind of a wash. You can see the liquid is just is even separated like that. This is some kind of like wash or something like that. I don't think that I've ever used it, or I used it at least once because there's some paint here on the side of the. You can tell when I try to take it out. Yeah, that's useless. I don't even know what the hell this is. I guess it's supposed to be like a wash you put over wood. Yeah, well, I like to paint my own little wood details on it. That's a lot of fun. So I don't have Instagram. Do you? I do. I don't really use it. It's my first name, my last name, and then .dba. I hate Instagram because every picture has to be square, and I just don't like it. I don't like it. I like Facebook. I like Facebook a lot. I think Facebook is a good combination between pictures and stuff you can write to go with the pictures. I think Instagram's a little too picture heavy. And I don't like that it changes the picture into being a square one. And, it isn't always square. And I don't use Twitter at all. Or what's that one that the kids use? And I say the kids because it's my daughter that talks about it, Snapchat, where things disappear. Look, I'm not going to waste my time passing on information and then it's gone. Like, that's like a waste, If I'm going to burn calories talking about something that may be useful to somebody, let it at least stick around so that maybe other people can hear it. But to do everything and then it disappears, that's just not and that's how I take it. It works. I've just talked to my daughter about it briefly. She's like, no, it disappears, Dad, after a couple of weeks. I'm like, well, I'm not interested in that. So I do like Facebook. There's things I don't like about it, but I don't get involved in that, the controversy stuff, So people want to start trouble with me, you just block them. You don't have to hear them again, they don't get you're going to be nasty. You don't get a voice, certainly not in a hobby when you should be encouraging people, not, getting into bickering and fights about stuff. So that's why I don't use Instagram. And, and it used to be, I would be fine to take, Facebook is the first place I want to post because it allows me to write some stuff on there. But even with Instagram, I'll go on there occasionally. I'll get a notice that somebody has on there and I'll look at a picture. It took me a long time, like, oh, the picture's gone. Where did it go? You have to hold it down and when you press the edge. There's a lot of things in Instagram that aren't very user friendly. And I don't really have the interest to dig into it more, to become more familiarized with it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I don't dislike it. I don't use it a whole lot. So, anyhow. And Facebook isn't perfect. Like the last video I posted, I uploaded it just like I normally do onto YouTube, and posted a link. And for some reason, the thumbnail didn't transfer over. And if you've ever posted videos from YouTube on Facebook, and let's say you're in a rush, right? And you mistype, say the name of the video. You transpire 2 letters or something like that, and you send that out, and you're like, oh crap, I typed that wrong. Let me cancel this post. Let me go in the YouTube video, change it, and then repost it again. It's almost like it remembers the old thumbnail and that it was spelled incorrectly, and you'll never be able to do it again. So that actually has happened to me. That actually happened to me recently. I changed, wrote the description of what the thing was, but I never changed what the name of the video was. It was just the date. And that was it. That's what the video, when it got posted, it had that date on there. There's nothing I could do about it. I could change it in YouTube, and if you go to YouTube, you'll see that it has a different name, but you're done. When you upload it on Facebook, it somehow remembers it. I don't know how to burp that, and I'm not interested in spending, 5 hours how to figure out how to do that, but that's just generally, with exceptions like that, I'm pretty happy with the experience off of that I've had with most things on Facebook. And but yeah, formatting issues are really annoying when you've got something and it's like, it's not formatted correctly, or it looks a certain way, and then when you go to print it out, it looks a different way. That kind of stuff's just really frustrating. Like I said, I use technology because I have to. I don't dislike technology. I just find it annoying when there's a lack of consistency. And things work one day, and the next day they don't work. And then mysteriously they work again the third day. Because I figure, well, okay, it's broken. It's not going to work again. So even so simple, like if you don't go and take a video of, you use your camera to take a video, or whatever, and you delete the video because you're done with it, right? Well, you still have to go in the trash and delete it from the trash. Like, why? Otherwise, it's just taking up all this space. Like, I was like, I've got all these videos, I've deleted them, I have no space on my phone. What's going on? Oh, well, you didn't empty your trash. What? You see Snapchat and Twitter as bollocks. Because Facebook is a competitor of ABC Google. ABC Google. Does ABC buy Google? I don't know. The most annoying thing for Facebook is you'll go on your page and be like, oh, that's cool. And then you go to something else and come back, and whatever was shown there is gone. And you have to remember what it was posted under and then search there. And you could tinker with the settings. They freaking change it every time. So if you see something and you didn't pay attention where you saw it, you might have a hard time finding it again. I find that frustrating. But other than that, I have no problem with it. Everybody's like, we're leaving Facebook for this other platform. I looked at the other platform. It sucks. Nobody's going to go there. You just need some kind of an interaction that's, along the line as polished as the Facebook interaction. Okay. Right. We need to do some shoes. Black again. Now let's make this guy dark. Let's make these dark brown. Let's add a little bit of brown to them, just for yucks. He didn't use any red leather for shoes. That's right, I didn't. That's crazy for these guys. Fancy shoes. You fancy shoed Wallachian. So I have posted some things on Instagram, but it's just really frustrating to like, you know, you put like, say, a picture of like your troops and it's really long so they can all be in there, and you go on Instagram and it's like you only have like a third of the center. I'm like, what the hell, you know? I ain't got time for this. All right. Because that you burn a ton. I mean, this takes a long time what I'm doing, right? But if you go and try to figure out how to do something with a computer and you search here and you search there, the next thing you know, 3 hours have gone by and you have nothing to show for it. That is a time wasting thing, for sure. All right. What color beard is this guy going to have? Yeah, let's give him a black beard. Or really dark, like most of them are. Just like the main dude. ABC is a corporation brand name for Google. Google owns YouTube, so linking has issues sometimes. Alphabet Incorporated is the holding company of Google Incorporated. Okay. I don't know the behind the workings. I just use it because it's free. And it's not TikTok, because I'm not doing that Chinese crap. You imagine me doing TikTok videos? We'll do TikTok DBA videos. No. Do TikTok videos with Mitch's feet. I have no idea how to even do one of those. I woke up this morning and I was looking at the comments, and Australian Greg made a comment about the video that he saw where it's some battle that we just saw, and he says, "Oh, Mitch, what is it that he wore? How is it that he wore today?" He says, "Mitch is wearing poor man's work boots, socks and thongs," and I just about busted out laughing. I just woken up and I was still in bed, and I almost woke the missus up laughing. Poor man's work boots. Oh man. That is some funny stuff. Made my weekend, Greg. Yeah. Mitch Feet TikTok videos. All right. Oh, there's the white that's alive. It's getting hard to find sometimes. All right, let's take some pure white and bring out the fletching. And I say this guy's done. Bounce 12 guys on there? I just did. Are the live chats automatically stored on the channel? They are. You notice dice match color matches the inside cup. So he bought this whole set of these cups, and they came with dice. So yeah, the liner, there's a yellow one that goes with the yellow one, and the green one that comes with the green one, and the purple one that comes with the purple and the blue. So yeah. Okay, studio, good luck with the painting. So, why is this so darn out of focus all of a sudden? All right, let me try something. Is something clicked on here that wasn't before? There we go. That's better. Yeah, so these are the 12 guys that will be on these 6 stands. So we'll wait for them to dry a little bit, and we'll go ahead and give them the first coating out there, and then come in and then give them the second coating, which is the flat, and then we can go put him on deciding who's going to go with who. Who's going to be dating who on the stand? All right, well, I need to do some cleanup here. And by cleanup, I mean put some of these encroaching paints away, because I don't have my workspace has been significantly reduced because of paint overcrowding, which happens every time. Happens every time. It's not a big deal. It's just one of those things. You just have to accept that. Happens every time and is going to continue happening. And I don't have to do it that often, just when I'm in between projects. That goes back there. This goes back here. This one goes back here. Flesh goes here. Yellow goes somewhere over here. They're not organized. I just have the browns together, the yellows together, the reds together. So you can find things easier and not have your eyes exhausted when you're looking for stuff. Stand versus base, the great debate. Yeah, well, these would be the permanent bases if I was doing my 20 mils. I base them on pennies. So, anyhow, good. Now we got some living space here. Mr. White. Okay. Let's put these guys off to the side and see what we're dealing with next. Well, I had a pile of primered figures that I had to deal with, but there's not that much. And just to give you an idea what's left. Here's the 5 peasants. And here's the gun crew. And the gun. And Dracula and his 2 buddies. So here's their cavalry stand. Cavalry stand, a fast horde stand, and which used to be a fast war band in 2.2, and an artillery piece. So once those things are done, I can play this army. Now, we have another command stand that we're going to do, which is going to be knights. That's going to be the Moldavians. And then we've got some later Polish allies for the Moldavians that also will be... We're definitely doing 3 stands of Polish knights and probably a fast blade to go with them. And maybe a war wagon. A Polish war wagon. Maybe. We'll see. And... yeah, but regardless, once this is done, we're going to have games with these guys. And we'll see how they do. They should be able to fight the Turks okay. And they can do some Saloy silliness, that kind of stuff. I'm sorry, I need to build a camp for them too. I don't want to use this army without the camp. So, got a little bit. It's not a ton of different stuff. So, now, we don't want to do the peasants now, because I've honestly painted plenty of peasants right here. I got done painting 12 peasants. So let's work on the artillery guys. And these are the guys that Essex does not have pictures of them online for whatever reason. They're listed, but they don't have them. I can go ahead and minimize this. They don't have pictures of them online of the minis. Let's make sure. It's so strange to... I want it to go to the right on the picture, but I got to move it to the left in real life. I'm just going to adjust this. This is like the hardest thing I've had to do today. So these are the Eastern European gun crew. And there's no pictures of them online on the Essex page, so I should send them a picture when I'm done. I don't know. I'm sure it affects how many people buy figures. Oh, there's no pictures of them? Oh, they must suck. Wasn't that one of Vlad's problems? Couldn't get allies? Vlad had all kinds of problems. And he's considered a what does Phil Barker call him? A brilliant general, but I don't know. He lost plenty of battles too. You know, he was just severely outnumbered, but he was stuck between the Hungarians and the Turks. So, okay. So first thing we're going to do is, because I don't like leaving the fun stuff for last, we're going to paint the Mr. Artillery piece. We're going to paint Uncle Artie, the Artie himself. And we're going to make this not a bronze gun. We're going to make this an iron gun, I think. I think that's what we're going to do. Let me minimize this and go here. Let me take a look at something. Okay. Cool. I was able to get that to work. I did something a little different this morning because what was happening is I was streaming directly from the Streamlabs app and the YouTube one wasn't catching up, and now I did something different and they're both in sync at the time for the time being. So let me minimize this for a moment and let me take a look at something. You guys won't be able to see this, but it will not be long. Oh, I don't like this Windows for Dummies. Where's my XP or Windows 98 where I could find everything? Where's my files? Documents, pictures. Is there no documents? No, just give me the... Why do they gotta change stuff? I mean, I've had this computer and it's actually the same format that the one at work is, and it's still odd. Here it is, the file viewer. That's what I want. Perfect. All right. We want... Here we want. This is what we want. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Warhammer historical modules. To use them as inspiration for painting, usually use them for inspiration for painting. I had the first DVA army I did. I ended up picking up the El Cid supplement, and there's some really nice stuff in there. And I was looking for the elusive one for this army, the Vlad the Impaler one, and it's like not available anywhere, not available, out of print, and someone, it wasn't me because I don't do stuff like this, but someone decided to upload it. I forget where it is that I got this, but I've got an electronic copy of it. I would have been perfectly happy buying the books. I like buying books, but the book wasn't available. And I just wanted to see if there's any inspiration here. And honestly, the book's a little lacking on inspiration as far as like painted miniatures. And it's not to take them, it's to take everything as a grain of salt. It's not like, well, he painted it exactly like this. This is what I want to do, you know. It's just for inspiration. So I don't see anything on here. I'm going to make an iron gun, not a bronze gun. Or maybe an in-between one. Maybe that's the way to go. And kind of like what I did with my Spanish one. I have one from my Renaissance army for the Spanish. I think that's the way to go forward on it. And I'm going to go get it. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I'll show you what I'm talking about. What my intent and what it looks like is going to be. And it's also going to allow me to use a couple colors that I haven't used before. So this is my Spanish Canon for, well, too close. This is my Spanish Canon for my Spanish Renaissance Army. I did this, I don't know, probably 10 years ago. And the Canon, I want to say the Canon is from, it's the Naismith one. But the crew was minifigs. And obviously the cannonballs don't fit in the cannon, because you can see the cannonballs are pretty reasonable size. They'd never fit in the muzzle. But hey, it's the idea that counts, right? But I've got kind of a bronze type of detail there on the cannon. I think this cannon would probably look nice with the same kind of treatment on it. Of course, the part I really like to do is to make the little wooden parts look wooden, even though they're not. So I think this is kind of the look I want for this particular gun. See, does it come out okay with the color? It's a really dark bronze. You know, it's not super shiny. So I think that's what I want to do with it. And if I don't like it, I can just redo it in black. But I think that's what I'm going to do. It's decided. So we'll put these guys over here so they can collect some dust. We'll put them away later. All right, so let's make sure that we got a good black coating on the whole thing. And whenever we're done with this stream, that's when I'll go out and spray those guys. There's no point in stopping right now and doing that, because it's not going to be dry enough. The stream, can't do the stream another 3 hours or something like that. I got some stuff to do, but I do want to get as much done as I can on this, and then we'll hit these guys heavy tomorrow morning. I don't know. Am I going to paint later today? I don't know. Is there going to be an evening painting session? I have no idea. Trying to get as much painting done as I can, because I got the time to do it right now. It's relaxing, and at the same time, it's pretty cheap. I'm not out spending money doing this. The money's already been spent. So this is just normally I use super glue, but I have the bottom of it glued on here, so we'll pop this thing off when we're done. But this allows me to, and I think I had to use epoxy because this thing was falling off on me all the time. But this will stay on here while I'm painting it. And I don't have to touch it and scuff it up. Yeah, now that I'm looking at this probably should be a bronze gun. I wish X6 had more artillery options, because this one's kind of uninspiring looking. I don't know. I like each place to have a different artillery piece, and when you're reusing the same style. This is like a pirate ship gun kind of thing. All right, now the colors we talked about using. Oh, missed a little bit. The colors we talked about using, we hadn't used before. You know what? I better do the brown first. I better do the wooden part first. I think I need to do the wooden part first. I think so. Yep. flat Earth? Maybe. Was thinking he was the way he was because he was always being betrayed by so-called allies. Oh yeah, he was betrayed. I'm sure he was difficult to get along with. And he's also, one thing is he's Orthodox Christian and the Hungarians are not. And of course the Muslims are not. The Ottomans are not. So he's kind of his own, he's tooting his own horn kind of in the middle of everything. So, about a year ago, I read a little novel about him. It has none of the vampire stuff. It's just the other stuff about his life. And unfortunately, I can't tell what's real and what was made up. So, I would have thought it would have been more interesting than it actually was. It was actually pretty drab. All right, what do we got here? English uniform. I think English uniform is what I'm going to use. Let's do a little test here. Let's do a little test. Let's put some of it down here. And then let's mix black with it and see what we can get. Okay. And then let's take some white on it and mix it with this and see what we get. Oh, well, we got to take the black out. Use your brain. Okay, here's some white. Yeah, let's go with that. That'll work. All right, so let's make us a dark shade here with this English uniform. There should be enough English uniform on there. This brush went to shit fast. Or maybe it was never any good. It got like this little burr halfway through it. All right, we're going to just slap this stuff on. Oh. Am I zoomed in too much? I think I'm zoomed in too much. Let's take a look at this. Let's zoom out. There we go. Okay. We're just going to slap this stuff on. You know, there's parts on here that are not going to be wooden color. There's no point in painting those if I can avoid it. But I shouldn't spend a long time trying to avoid them either. Okay, so we got those wheels. Paint the carriage. And there's some metal reinforcing parts on the carriage. There's no point in going over there because then I would have to go over it in black. So let's just save some time, some trouble here. Man, I needed to put more quantity down here of paint. And then we can see some of the wheel back here, some of the wheel back there. And this is almost black. This is nearly black. Okay, did that side. Let's do the wheels here that we can see. And the front, what's going on in the front here? A ton of reinforcing stuff. Okay. All right. Now let's get some brush. Let's get some brushes that work, and also let's ditch some of these that we're definitely not going to use. That one's a possibility. That's a possibility. These are no-goes for this project. These two are possible. These are all no-goes. Might as well put them away for the time being. They're just too big and broad for what we want to do. Oh, that one's good. We'll use that one to replace these two. Exact knife doesn't need to be there. Boy, this thing's soaked. All right. Wasn't there a movie? I don't know. They did some Dracula movie recently, but just with all stupid stuff, even on the History Channel, they'll do an army that's mounted and they'll show them all dismounted and stuff like that. Like the Mongol movie. Remember whatever that Mongol movie that came out about 10 years ago? I hated it. I thought it was boring as shit. And just, you know, they add fantasy elements when they're not necessary. I think it was called Mongol. You know, it's expensive to show people crashing into somebody when you're on a horseback, you know? So they just kind of do the same thing, but then dismounted. Not fooling me, pal. That stuff's not geared for us. It's geared for, you know, it's geared for the folks that don't know, that aren't war gamers. We need to have more contrast than that. That doesn't pop out at all. Make sure. Actually, I need to wake up my phone. I need to make sure I don't have any messages on here. Okay. All right. Finished your 28 millimeter night. 6 hours start to finish. Yeah. Wow. It'd take me forever. I did see those figures though. Those are beautiful figures. They almost look too real. I prefer my wargaming figures to look a little cartoonish. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, that's what I prefer. Maybe a little animated looking. I don't know. So I wouldn't war game with 72nd scale plastics. I think they look too realistic. Well, it depends on the manufacturer. There's some that, you know, more realistic than others. And see if we can get to the back side here. We can. Let's do the back side over here. You should see my 28mm Asterisk Roman army. I don't remember what the Romans looked in that. I didn't follow it. I really didn't follow that comic book or anything. I know what you're talking about. I know what the Gauls look like, but I don't remember ever seeing what the Romans look like. Good morning, Steve. Welcome back. All right, let's add more of this core color here. Damn, my stomach's noisy. I'm hungry, but then I'm almost always hungry. Almost always. Look up Metal Magic Asterisk figures. You like the movie Mongol, but you're right. Too much time spent on Genghis trying to get his woman back. And too much time dismounted. You know, there's a lot of movies that have fight scenes where, you know, obviously mounted troops and they just show them on foot. My solution would be like, you know, if you can't do that, then just don't even do that. Pick a different subject, right? I saw it one time and just, you know, you show it in the preview, but you got that heavy cavalry with this huge, out of ridiculous, almost like Dynasty Warriors type weapons, and I watched it. I'm not going to watch it again. You know, it just doesn't. The subject matter isn't really that interesting to me, anyways. I'm not a Mongol fan. I know lots of people are. I'm not one of them. I guess that was about 10 years ago, right? It came out, something like that. And I tried watching that Netflix series on Marco Polo, but I just couldn't get into it. I actually started watching it with my dad, and I didn't realize what it was. There's a couple scenes were like freaking softcore porn. I'm like, that's not what I'm here for, you know? Romans were early Imperial Roman with a segmented armor. Yeah, that happens all the time. That's the typical. That's the typical Roman look. Man, I got to use the little boy's room. Mongols was worth a look, but not a keeper. Yeah. Be right back. Yeah, I didn't care for it. I didn't care for Mongol. You know, and I sat through Red Cliff, and I liked that period. I liked the Three Kingdoms stuff, but it's like boring. It was like really boring. I remember it just being like, I don't know. The Koreans make all kinds of Korean historical stuff, but I really haven't delved it. Those miniseries type stuff just doesn't work for me. I just don't have the time or the inclination to sit there and watch episode after episode after episode of something. I just don't. I don't have the time to do that. I can't do it while I'm doing this. All right, let's add. We need more. We need more white. We need a new white out there. White always dries out so fast. Have I watched the Amazon series on El Cid? Filmed in Spain. It was interesting. I saw the season one. I haven't seen the second one. It was all right. I didn't really care for typical problem that I have with miniseries. Don't care for who they cast in certain roles. I didn't care for the guy who they cast as El Cid. He wasn't terrible, but you know, it was okay. You know, their battle report that said Mongols would dismount to form an ambush after doing a gain retreat. Unfortunately, that lasted 10 episodes. It was okay. Season one. I know season 2 is out. I just haven't sat down and watched it. And that's the same thing with Last Kingdom. I don't know where I left off. Whether I've seen one season or 2 or 3, I don't know. I don't like the main guy. I don't care what happens to him. Like, can you just kill this guy off so we can go off to the, you know. So I know when I tried to pick it up again about a year ago, I just couldn't get into it. I just couldn't get into it. And I don't know where I left off on Vikings. I think I was right after they were attacking Paris, and that's kind of where I left off. That one at least has enough different characters that if you don't like half of them, there's still a bunch of characters that you do like. Yes, but I'm watching a show. I can't do anything else other than watch the show. So unless I watch it at lunchtime, I'm pretty much gonna have a hard time finishing stuff. If I'm painting or man, it's a loud vehicle. I'm redneck with knobby tires. What it sounds like. Vikings was much better than Last Kingdom. I like the. Again, I don't like the main guy in either one of those two series. So don't remember much about Last Kingdom. I think I only saw. I had to have seen two series. I don't know. I haven't seen the Crusader one, and there's just so many things to watch, and it's just I can't do that in this. And this comes first. This comes first. There we go. Now we're starting to see some contrast. I don't know how the hell I got through, because most of these series I pretty much watched them after they're over, and I could never watch something and then like, oh, you gotta leave me hanging, and then come back in a week. Like, no, screw that. And you like the brother Rollo and Vikings better than Ragnar? Absolutely, I agree with you completely. I agree with you completely. You prefer listening to me while painting? Well, thank you. Podcasts? Yeah, I've listened to podcasts. Yeah. Um, Listening to podcasts. Yeah, I don't mind that. If you find one that's. Thing about a podcast is there's nothing to look up to, so it's all audio. So. I've pretty much stopped watching almost everything since I've started doing these videos because it's just taking my time. You know, I've also been a lot more productive too. So maybe it's probably a good thing I stopped. I don't know if you guys can make out the color differentiation here. Let me take a look at the screen, see what you guys are looking at. Well, building it up slowly. I guess this brush had enough detail enough to get where I needed to go with it. And it's still going to be pretty dark looking on purpose because they fire this thing off. This is this is going to get gunpowder and all kinds of crap all over it. It's not like washing the guns is a priority. Now, when you're painting this wood stuff, is you want some of the other colors to stand through, so you've got some depth to the lighting is really weird in here. It's definitely makes it look a lot brighter on the screen than it is. More whiter, so you can binge watch them after the series is over. Is Vikings still going on? I don't remember if it is. Vikings got strange towards the end when they introduced a ruse. The tribe in northwestern part of France that gave the Romans trouble, they called it Veneti, but they were seagoers, not druid-led. Huh. Cool. Well, not if you're the Romans, they gave them trouble. Oh, Captain Obvious. Captain Obvious. Yeah, I binge watch stuff, and honestly, I don't know when they mixed with the Slavs. I don't know how I got through some series. Like, I saw the whole series of 24. How many seasons is that? 9 or 10 or something like that, and they're all 24, so that's a lot of episodes. I don't know how the hell I saw it, because certainly didn't do it while I was painting. Took every lunchtime for like 2 years watching that or whatever. I don't know. But there's no way I'd watch that thing live. What, leave me hanging like that? Leave me hanging like that? But that was a while ago. It was a struggle just getting through Narcos Mexico. Not because it was boring. There was just that many episodes to see, and, I'm kind of busy. And that wasn't that big. That was only, 3 seasons or 2 seasons or something like that. But, it takes time. It takes time that I don't want to devote to that. Now, podcasts are really good for when you're mowing lawn. I enjoy them for that. Okay, I'm going to stop tinkering with this color and work on the bronze before I go back. On this. So, bronze-wise, what do we got? Well, we got the standard bronze color, but I'm only going to use that for the very last highlight. I'm never going to be able to understand. I need to get this more on one side of the screen, and I have to move it the opposite way that I would have to. I got to remember the camera's up here, not in the middle of the thing. Vikings is over. They're producing a follow-on series that takes place several generations after the original series ended. Okay. I think it was pretty well received. Knew lots of people that were watching it. Okay, so we got some colors here that don't get a lot of love. One of them is an army painter color called Rough Iron. But it's definitely got, I don't know if you can tell, it's got some red in it. This is the one I was thinking of. So we're going to use that. We're going to get old Nuln Oil. And of course I put it away. And this for the highlights. So let's see what we got here. Rough Iron. Where's metallic corner? Over here. That's interesting. Interesting color. All right, so we're going to take some black and mix that in. All right, let's paint the barrel in this color. All right, we got that kind of as a base. We're going to take some of this bronze and start mixing it in as highlighters, as highlighting. I think we need to move this now. I think it's now in the way. Let's go to, which one is this? I think it's this one. Nope, that's not the one. It's webcam. That's correct. And we'll just move this down here. Okay, and then let's lock it again. 2 a.m. Definitely time for bed. Wow. Dedication. Love Vikings. Title music. Danish group sung in Old Norse. I don't remember it. It's like some kind of like chanting or something like that, isn't it? I don't remember it. All right, then we're just going to use, let's just put some of this straight stuff on here for highlighting. Let's see what we got. we're going to go with for now. That's what we're going to go with for now. Your Canon painting has inspired me to work on one for a War of the Roses army. There you go. Paint that stuff you've been sitting on for a long time. No, we're leaving the front of it completely black. Well, we've got some highlighting things like the... When this goes through, these little like knobs. Okay, and there's some rope things on there, and then there's some metallic stuff in there. So let's go ahead and do the rope. We're gonna want a pretty light color for that. Almost like the skeleton bone. Yeah, something like that. Skeleton. Skeletonians, I like to call them. Well, you know what? I can't take it anymore. I'm going to go spray these guys. And I'll be right back. Oh, they're out there percolating. drying up. Okay. All right, where is my core color? Here we go. Yeah, we don't have this color in the wood, so it should stand out nicely. We could probably use this brush for this. What is the temperature out there? And I wasn't scared to spray in it. 52. 52 degrees. Never had a cloudy problem. People that do, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it's apparently something that's not happening to me. All right. One of my other cannons has rope like this. I forget which one. It's probably the Ottoman one, honestly. Which is probably what this gun was. It captured it from the Ottomans and trial and error tried to figure out how to fire the damn thing. So I can choose to either have, let's see, would that be rope around the end of that? I'm going to paint it like it is. I don't think I'm going to make it metallic. These rings down here, they're probably made of iron, so we're going to give them a little bit of some other tones on here. Let's go to this side. Yeah, I think the other one is the Turks, and I liked how the little guy turned out. All right. This rope, it takes no time for rope to look dried out. I don't think we're going to need to add any white to this. I think this should suffice. clean up that little post a little bit. Hold on 1 second, folks. All right, sorry about that. Just had a visitor and needed to clear something up. Is it cold there now? I don't coat in the cold. It's 52. I've sprayed in 39-degree weather. I've sprayed in 90-degree weather with it raining outside. Never had a problem. Never, never, never had a problem. Ah, we have a Russian visitor. Oh, can't do it from this screen. Gotta do this one. And I gotta go here. And, oh man, hold on. I clicked on the wrong thing. I clicked on the wrong thing, didn't I? Well, we'll just leave that on there for the time being. Damn it! Should get a little warmer there soon. Gift or mouth house wet? No, you can keep your damn heat. No, I've never had an issue with the spray stuff. I mean, can you imagine busting your ass to get something done and then, oh, the weather's not right, I can't coat it? Screw that. I've never had a problem with it. Now, I keep all the containers out in the same temperature that I spray in. I bet that's what it is. I bet that's what it is. I'm not a scientist, but I bet that's what the issue is. You know, and it's not under freezing. I mean, under freezing wouldn't work. You know, but the can is always at the same temperature it's going to get sprayed in. So you don't have condensation happening in mid-flight. And I don't spray super thick either. I think some people may be spraying super, super thick. And I did a video. On that was actually shot in what weather? I forget who the hell I was spraying. It might have been Russians or something like that. But I did a video on how I spray. And maybe to help some folks if they're having issues with that. I'm not sure what they're doing wrong, but I leave the spray cans in the garage and I spray in the garage. There's no point in bringing the spray cans back in here. It's not like they're going to walk away or anything. I just left them out of there. Wasn't like I had some kind of a master plan on why I did it that way. It just kind of happened. So, okay. Now we've got lots of little irony type things on here. So let's get our irony colors. There's just so much damn glare on this thing you can't see. Oh. Like how that looks so far. Irony. Let's get the darkest. Iron Warriors. Amazon just dropped my 3.0 rule book off. Going to have a good old read tonight. Nah, just look at the Army list. Don't read through that thing. That's painful. It makes sense. Well, but the condensation thing, I'm guessing. I just, and I don't put it on super thick. And, I don't know, I'm about a foot away from it. I don't know. I don't know why people have so much trouble with it. I'm just fortunate I haven't. So, like I said, you probably don't want to do it in 20-degree weather. Something bad could happen, I guess. I'd probably be tempted to try it though, but okay. Now let's get a big brush because there's lots of this stuff on here. Let's put some of this here. Now we got two corners that have metallics on them. Well, we won't be using this thing for a really much longer time. So we're going to do the edge of this, these little caps here for the cannon. We're going to do, it's separated, so we're going to make this metal. There's a little divider here. Where you can tell that it's like a separate piece on the casting. So we'll make it a separate piece. These little rings here. These end caps. There's one. This whole front of this thing is end cap. Like reinforcing bands and stuff. I actually didn't know I had this color. I must have gotten this one recently. Iron Warriors. It's a base color from Games Workshop. Citadel Color. And then the end cap here. Wheels. And then we've got the edges here. And hold on one second. We're going to have to take a pause here. And okay, sorry about that. Just have to control outside noises. If I have any kind of music that somebody else is playing in the background, I have all kinds of copyright violation problems. And that's happened to me before. And the only alternative to do that is to kill the volume during the song is being played. So the girls were watching a TV show about a year ago or whatever, and the theme song for the TV show came on, and I couldn't even hear it in this room, but the microphone picked it up and YouTube picked it up, and I got a notice that my video was flagged for copyright violations, and I'm like, what? And it was a theme song for a show that was playing in another room, and it had picked it up. And I don't want to get into issues with that because, you know. Anyhow, true story. They're really sensitive as to being able to pick up different sounds. And hopefully that little bit didn't kick it off. So if you go back and you're watching this video, you watched an earlier portion of it, and you wonder, why is that one section didn't have any sound in it? Well, now you know why. So we could have done all these videos when I lived alone for 10 years if the technology was around back then to be able to do this. I would have been happy to do this. What would have been? 20 years ago? Yeah. Wasn't there. Wasn't there. Okay, I need to get more of this. More of that color on there. Ever watch the Mythbusters episodes when they make a can out of wood? I didn't. I tell you what, that was a show that I liked, and it went sideways really fast. There you go. Dive into the Army list. They changed the format, and they changed it to an ADD format. So the thing I dislike the most about doing something is being interrupted. Okay? It's my pet peeve. You know, if I'm not going to finish something, I don't want to start it. So they changed the format of Mythbusters where every show would have, I think it was 3 things. There's 3 things that they were trying to bust. And they would, when the show first started, they would start with thing A and go all the way through it. And then B all the way through it, C all the way through it. And towards the end or towards the later seasons, they'd give you a little glimpse of each one and then go and do like a third of each one. So you're like constantly not finishing the thing. And I just found it really annoying. And I just stopped watching it because of that. But I did see the one episode that was the urban legend that I had heard. And it involved the people that took an Impala or something like that and put a jet-assisted takeoff on it, and I forget what the conclusion of it. I think it ended up being BS or something like that. But yeah, I watched that show a little bit, and then they changed that format that didn't work for me. Now I don't have ADD, and I don't want to be, constantly sidetracked and not have something finished. So yeah, that format didn't work for me. And they just that's the thing about TikTok things and Vines. They're just not long enough, and I swear they give people ADD, so that's what you expect. Like, oh, this went on more than 7 seconds. I don't have time for it. Like, dude, man, relax, you know? Relax, don't rush me, and let me finish. Let's see if we got... we'd missed this one completely. Yeah, pet peeve. I don't like being interrupted. It's unsatisfying to be interrupted constantly. And you make mistakes, and, you know... Let's see if we can get a good... Move it the opposite way you want it. When am I going to learn? Never. It's illogical. It's back-asswards, literally. Okay, let's see if we can get this in. This is literally the hardest thing I've had to do all week, is try to get this in the center of the view. It's blurry as crap. And it's got autofocus on. I don't know that I can... It's not accurate. It doesn't look on the screen what it looks like in person. Here, like, the top of it looks almost like it's green. It doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that at all. I am going to go back to the wood now, because now we have kind of a frame of reference with a rope and everything. And now we can use this really thin one and do some final touches on the wood. So we need this color. We need this. We got this. Let's do the edging here so that pops out. Yeah, these corks are a blessing because it allows me to hold it in a way that I'm not touching and damaging what this is. All right, let's mess with the wheels a little bit more. Add one little layer of color. All right. And let's go over here. Work our way towards the other side. Well, I got this screen. I don't need. Oh, I gotta be careful what I press. I have a problem. And minus. Minimize. There we go. I love this wood. Doing this little details on the wood. It's very relaxing. It takes a little bit of time. No big deal. It's not stressful. It's easy to fix if you screw it up. It's a shame they can't have the fast horde and the artillery piece. But I'm sure Mr. Barker knows why he doesn't give him the option for both. He must have his reasons. Blame it on the author. Hey, I didn't come up with an army list. Don't look at me. Let's set this guy off the side for that. I think we're going to call it, yeah, I got to get some other stuff done today. I think we're going to call it a morning. 3 hours and almost 3.5 hours on here. So not bad. We got done what we needed to do. The guys are drying up, and yeah, we'll bring them in when they're done, and we'll give them a brush-on flat coat, make them nice and flat, and then we'll go on to what's next. Why is it so blurry? Maybe because it's let's see. What if I did this? Well, that looks better, except for the highlighting I have behind me. Transom window light. Anyhow, it'll look good in pictures, so kind of hard to tell right here. But anyhow, until next time, we'll catch you guys tomorrow morning if I don't have another painting session today. And thanks for stopping by. And happy Saturday as always.